That is wrong. No, not Fragasa. Furai is a Don. Matter of fact, you want his mod spot, bruh? I know this is like your first time hearing everything, but fuck it.
Well, what can I do for you? Yep.
That nigga Furai worked like 7 years for that sword. Ah, well, really, more like maybe 3, 4 tops. That nigga did disappear for a couple of years, but
Anything catch your eye?
I need a medulla.
Look good. Alrighty. Perfection.
The VTuber rabbit hole kidnapped me for a while. I didn't know that's where you fucked off to. The VTuber rabbit hole, I have even more of a reason to take your sword now, actually.
Nothing amazing happens here. Everything is ordinary.
Yo, Nyquil, thank you for the 34 months. I greatly appreciate it. Anyone know if Tekken is still on maintenance? I still would like to play some Tekken. If I tried out Leroy, nah, Leroy not really for me. It's crazy that SF and Tekken are both in the best spots they've been in the last decade. Mortal Kombat just Squidward at the window suffering. Are they though? In the last decade, so that'd be 2015. For Street Fighter, yeah, Street Fighter is definitely the best spot it's been in the last 10 years. Tekken, I'm not so sure about that.
Come back anytime.
Mortal Kombat just needs to add DC characters and change the name to Injustice.
Yep.
And Mortal Kombat is it doesn't help. And I kind of forgot about this until I was like looking in this, like I was watching some Mortal Kombat stuff recently. I kind of forgot. Part of the reason why I stopped playing that game is because I really did not like the community. It's just extremely toxic, very immature. Like I just was not having a good time associating or like being around a lot of the people and players. And like obviously it's not everybody, but more so than other games I've played when it comes to like the FGC, I just didn't want to be part of that scene. You think the current era of Tekken is worse than launch Tekken 7 Akuma? Well, launch Tekken 7 Akuma wasn't really like running rampant like that. Like Akuma was broke, but like nobody was really playing him. Like you had what was his name? Punko, I think, played him, Rixta, and then like Super Akuma. And like Rixta and Super Akuma did well at events, but most people didn't really chalk it up to, oh, Akuma was like OD broken. It wasn't really until it really was not until Arslan, Ash, and Pakistan came on the scene, and obviously Arslan didn't play it, but it wasn't really until Pakistan came on the scene that we were like, holy fuck, Akuma is like actually like ridiculously fucking busted and broken, and this shit is annoying and is terrible. that being said, like Akuma was actually even more broken before that, but we just didn't, I don't think, fully realize it. I was never a fan of the nigga being in the game from the start, but you know, it's similar to like Sparking Zero. Like Sparking Zero is another game where, like, for one, the game just released underbaked, like undercooked. That game was just clearly lacking in a lot of ways, and you know, we were vocal about it. We've all voiced our concerns and complaints, and it got a lot of great changes and improvements. And if the game released in its current state, it probably would have been much better received. It's still far from perfect, but it's so much better than how it launched. The Sparking Zero community was so bad. Like, it was so bad. And it kind of like discouraged me from wanting to like continue to play the game or create content for it as well.
See you later.
I guess we go fight that nigga again. Watching the 7v7 Korea versus Pakistan on the 14th. Yeah, I bookmarked a tweet about that actually. So that's on the 14th, which would be on Friday. Let me double check what time that is. Oh, the thing is though, that's on the Soup. It's going to be streamed on Soup, which they don't like. Well, it used to be Africa. Africa does not want you to restream their events on Twitch, which is perfectly understandable, and I respect that. They actually came to my stream personally once and very politely asked if I could not restream their stuff, and I was like, yeah, sure, totally understandable. I think if you actually stream on that platform, they're okay with it, but it's just so I will watch it, but it probably won't be on stream because I'm pretty sure they would still not like that. Wait, this says it's at 5 p.m. on Friday. I'm assuming that's at Korea time, right? And Korea is what, 13 hours ahead? So that would actually mean that it's on Thursday at 4 a.m. Or no, it would be Friday at 4 a.m. Yeah, Friday at 4 a.m., right? So Thursday night, but Friday like early morning. Let me write that down. Okay. I was hoping it would feel like it did playing with my neighborhood, but online is just people looking to hurt you. Yeah. Remember talking Twitch chat? In this shit, there we go. Remember talking about this with you on Twitter, but I feel like since the advent of online and popularity of it, casual fighting games are kind of dead. Like, they made sense in the couch co-op era where people didn't know tech or wasn't readily available, but now that cheese is discovered almost instantly, the lack of depth gets boring super fast, specifically referencing Sparking Zero here. I don't think it's just casual fighting games. I think this is casual gaming in general. I think we are getting to a point where casual gaming, if it's online multiplayer in any capacity, is dead, because everybody's trying to be a content creator. Everybody wants a viral clip. There's always going to be people out there that are capitalizing off making guides or showing you how you can optimize this or be better at that or whatever. Everything is like super ultra mega competitive now. Information is extremely accessible and it spreads like wildfire. And yeah, I agree with you. Long gone are the days where we can just be a couple of buddies just mashing buttons, not really know what we're doing. Like, that can still exist, but it's so much more rare now. And the thing is, like, even if it's just like, let's just say you and I, Van, let's say we're not streamers, content creators, you don't develop games, you know, so let's just say we're just two random ass regular people, right, who pick up Sparking Zero. it might start off the first couple of days where just two niggas mashing buttons the way that we used to when we played Budokai 3 as kids. But after a couple of days, one of us, if not both of us, is gonna go, let me look online real quick. See, matter of fact, let me look up goddamn Super Saiyan 4 Goku combos. You know what I'm saying? And just like that, all that casual shit is out the window immediately. You know what I'm saying? The instant you go to look up, let me see a motherfucking Sparking Zero guide real quick. And case in point, like Sparking Zero, it should be a very casual game. But I think the most popular video I did, or at least one of the most popular videos I did that blew up immediately overnight with like 100,000+ views, is probably like 200,000-300,000 views by now, is like my top 10 beginner tips for Sparking Zero, because immediately one of the first things people want to know is, how do I play this game better than everyone else? You know what I mean? If I'm brand new to the game, like what, you know what I'm saying? Whereas before, like never in a million years, never at all did it ever cross my mind as a kid to like look up shit like that, which isn't even inherently a bad thing, but it's just like, it does kind of kill, like you said, like that casual vibe and like that couch co-op feeling from back in the day, because it's just like, you know, everybody wants to be the best, or at least be better than their friends and shit, and it's, you know, it's just a very different time and a very different era. Everybody wants to be a pro or a streamer or a YouTuber or the top rank, and you know what I'm saying? It's just, I think shit is like significantly more, I think gaming is significantly more competitive today than it was even 10 years ago, let alone 20 years ago. And in a way, it does kind of like ruin some of the fun, because, and I realized this about myself as well, is that fighting games have gotten significantly more stressful and honestly less fun for me as I've gotten older, because it's gotten so much more competitive and I take it so much more serious. Like I never got super frustrated, even like when DBFZ came out, like even from that time to now, it's like I used to like never get like super angry or tilted, and like I get frustrated, everybody does, you know what I'm saying? You get a little mad here and there or whatever, but it's like, especially as a kid, I didn't give a fuck. Like, you know what I'm saying? Granted, I was always better than like my siblings or like my friends for the most part. But like, even like if I was playing certain games online, like I didn't really like get tilted and shit like that. Only thing that like ever really got me is like if I play somebody with like a super bad connection, I'm just like, oh man, this shit's annoying. But even like them first few years of DBFZ, especially like them first two, y'all niggas probably ain't never see me actually mad playing DBFZ. Like them first 2 years, it was just, I was always having a good time. But things are just like so competitive now, and also I just take it so much more serious than I did before, that it like hinders the enjoyment. Like it sucks out some of the fun. And for some people, competition is fun, and I feel that way as well, but I'm having way more fun playing games that are not competitive these days than games that are. Like I used to be able to sit and just play fighting games for hours and hours on end. I can't really do that the same way as I used to. Super Saiyan Goku and Goku Blue and Fighters are perfect examples. Wait, what? I actually think this is overall a good thing, because it makes developers think more about the game design and not just, here's your 8th Naruto / Goku with a beam Rasengan that just looks different. I mean, I think there's pros and cons to it, but the thing is that like it's so much more difficult now to just casually enjoy a game, especially because like odds are, because of the era that we live in, right? If there's a particular game that you enjoy and you play it a decent amount, let's say you're just a casual League of Legends or Valorant player or a fighting game of choice, you're probably somewhat involved in that community, whether it's you're watching streams or YouTube videos or looking at the Reddit or TikToks, whatever, right? And so before, let's just say 20 years ago, like you'd have people who would be higher ranked or whatever, but like I don't think people valued like being high level or like being one of the best or having these super high ranks or achievements as much as they do now. I think before it was kind of like, I just, you know, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like obviously competition has always been a thing and people have always cared about stuff like that, but I think it's so much more now than it was before. And I think people get really down on themselves, stress themselves out more, have less fun, stress themselves, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, I think it is had a lot of negative impact on people's enjoyment of games now. And while it might be better for developers when it comes to like how they design the games and make them a much more fleshed out product and try to balance it more and things like that, I don't think most companies actually do a great job of that, for one. And then two, it's just like all it does is frustrate people more. Yo, Lotus, thank you for the 42 months. What HR are you? I am currently HR 42, almost 43. Missed the pickup ball era fighting games. It's not necessarily that, because like fighting games are way cooler now than they've ever been, in my opinion, for the most part. But I miss the feeling of like not caring about all that other shit and then just kind of just like carefree, just stress free, just mashing buttons, having a good time, as opposed to being like, gotta hit this rank or I gotta be this level. Because like, here's the thing, I never ever gave a fuck about ranks and what rank I was in any game until Dragon Ball FighterZ came out. Like, for one, I almost never even played ranked, but even if I did, it really wasn't that big of a deal to me. You know what I mean? And then even when FighterZ came out, I played ranked just enough to get the trophy, which isn't very much. It's 530,000 BP, which is like, was that Frieza rank or something like that? I forget exactly. Demon. It's a very, very low rank, 530k BP or some shit like that. And I didn't play ranked anymore for like another year or two. And I only started playing ranked again because people wanted to see it. Like, people were asking me to do it. And I was like, okay, I'll do it for a stream and for YouTube content or whatever. And then now I've gotten to the point where I think there was an expectation placed on me by my viewers and also on me by myself, where I have to be able to consistently hit certain ranks in games that I play, or play up to a certain level or a certain standard, because that's not what's expected of me. And also the standard I hold myself to, where it's like, if I can't play at least this level, like I'm falling short, or like I'm not, you know what I'm saying, I'm failing, which it shouldn't feel that way, but that is how it is now. Like, I don't necessarily care about the rank itself, if that makes sense, but I feel like there's a certain level I need to be able to play in any game that I pick up. Otherwise, I'm not doing a good job, or I'm not doing good enough, or like I'm not worth watching, whatever. Because like the thing is, with especially now, because even when it comes to the content creation space, you want to talk about competition, content creation is more competitive than it's ever been, obviously. And it's in the FGC for sure. I can speak on this from firsthand experience. It has changed so much and gotten so much better, but more competitive, because when FighterZ came out, I was like a great blend of entertaining and decent at the game. Like, I'm still better than most people, but I'm also like, I'm not Sonic Fox, but I'm also not, you know what I'm saying, I'm not Goichi, but I have a personality as well. So it's like, I would say like prior to like 2020, when you were looking up fighting game content, you normally had to pick up, you normally had to pick between somebody who's like bad at the game, but they're really funny and entertaining, or they're really good at the game, but like they don't really have much of a personality, or they don't talk very much. And like, it wasn't really until like FighterZ came out that I felt like people like myself and Dado, and there was others as well, I'm not saying like we started it or anything like that, but it became a lot more common just coincidentally around that time, where you had players who were like, oh, this person's pretty decent at the game and they're entertaining, they make good videos or whatever, or they're fun to watch on stream. Because fighting game players, they weren't with that YouTube and shit. They weren't with they would stream, but it wasn't really, you know what I'm saying, it wasn't like it is now. And you start seeing Lord Knight, the Kill Sage, Diaphone, Sage M's obviously been doing his thing for a minute, where he was kind of doing that shit as well already, and he's blown up significantly over these last few years. FeedEX, you know what I'm saying, like more and more players are becoming content creators, and that wasn't really how it was prior to like 2020 or even like 2018. And that makes it even harder for someone like me, because now you have players who are just as entertaining or informative as I was, but they're also now that much better than me. So like the bar has been raised, and it's a bar that's hard to reach now, because I'm only but so good at fighting games, you know what I mean? But yeah. DBFZ and Strive is when I noticed the shift. I agree as well. I think with Dragon Ball FighterZ and Guilty Gear Strive, and then eventually with Street Fighter 6 is when you start to see like a really big shift in the content creators, a lot of pro players being content creators and like actually like taking it more serious and putting out YouTube videos and streaming regularly and actually like showing more of their personality and trying to be entertaining and shit like that. Let me scroll up a little bit. I think part of it now is that being good at a game and then streaming it is a genuine career path, right? Many people look for that and will do anything to be able to say top X in the world and their stream title to hopefully kick off a content creator career for themselves. Yeah, like you see that with every new game. You know what I'm saying? Shit, even with a game like this, people put HR whatever in their title, just like I'm HR 500. So people were like, oh shit, HR 500, yo, what this nigga be doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, Esports players ruined Halo for me because I didn't care. They were so good. They got the abilities of casual weapons nerfed. How can you enjoy the game when people exploit combos or fugazi tactics online and generally make the game less enjoyable, especially when fighting games are back then? We were just playing at home with the homies. I mean, I enjoy the higher level. I play fighting games at a way, way higher level than I ever did before. And I enjoy that and I find that very fun. But it oftentimes is also very frustrating and it puts a lot of pressure on myself that I didn't have before. To me, and you might say it's corny as fuck, whatever, but fighting games are like real life anime. Okay. And so from that perspective, I want to fight people who are giving it their all and have all the tools available to them. If I beat you, I want it to be because I'm better than you, not because you're a casual that has no idea what they're doing. So overall, I actually enjoy everything being more competitive because you don't get Sonic Fox or Gucci type shit if niggas aren't giving it their all. Yeah, but I think that's like such a niche case, you know what I mean? Because the vast majority of people aren't at that level and will never get to that level. So the, 98% of people who are playing are casual and are like way, way lower than that. And so it's like, but they're still trying to be that, even though they aren't amounting to that. You know what I mean? Follow you on YouTube for a minute. Love what you do. I appreciate that, the Infamous. Welcome to the stream, man. Didn't you say when Tekken 8 came out that while it was frustrating, the high you got for finally understanding Tekken outweighed the frustration? I don't know if I said that, but I'm a big believer that Tekken in general has like really high highs and really low lows for me. Realistically, I'll never get there, but I want no ceiling. I mean, I feel you. Like I can relate to that. I just think that while I enjoy the level I play fighting games at and striving to get better and better, and it feels extremely rewarding to continue to improve and progress and like continue to push past your limits and everything like that, I don't know if I enjoy this more than when I didn't really know any better when what I was really doing and I was just kind of having fun playing with the homies and my brother and like my dad or whoever, like people in the neighborhood and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, I think the fun I had back then, it was just is equal to or maybe even greater than the fun that I have now playing in this era or at this level. Just because of the added stress and pressure of it all, you know? And just like the expectation. Because like for me as well, like I don't feel like I can particularly lean into either camp. Because again, for me, it was like I'm bringing a mix of entertainment to some capacity or like a little bit of information or whatever that you may not know to the casual player, as well as a certain level of skill. And while I'm still offering something, like clearly that's why people watch the content still and everything like that, I just think that I'm not good enough to be like, okay, well, I'm about to just be this super sick, nasty player, and that's why people watch. And I also just don't think I'm funny enough or like good enough at like making videos to where it's like, he ain't all that, you know what I'm saying? He ain't what he used to be, but he still makes really good videos, you know what I'm saying? Like it's still me trying to be a mix of both. But the bar for that has been raised a lot by people who are just as entertaining, if not more so, while also being more informative and more skilled at the game. Like FeedX and Sajam, they do the shit that like I want to do, but they do it better, and I love that for them. That's great. But it just, so it's like I have to continue to hold myself to a certain standard, and it's just harder now than it was like when I started, which is that's fine. I think that's a good thing, raising the bar for the level of content that's being produced and everything like that. But I think as well, for me personally, I've learned that, and you probably feel where I'm coming from with this, Van. I've learned when it comes to fighting games, the thing that I currently at this age or at this skill level or at this point in my life, whatever, enjoy the most is like playing against someone who is of similar, maybe even higher skill level, and feeling like I outplayed or outsmarted them. You know what I'm saying? And like, there is a mental battle of some sort going on. And because I'm like better than most players, but still not quite like a top player, you know, and not even just not quite, but I'm not a top player. I am what I would consider myself an intermediate fighting game player, like just across the board, right? I can pick up pretty much any fighting game and I can get to around the same skill level in any game that I play. I'm that good to where it's like I feel like I have not a certain ceiling, but like I know the floor I can get to in just about any game. Like if I pick up Street Fighter, like I could probably, like I got to Diamond, I probably could have got the Master. You know, I'm in Tekken, I can hit Emperor, I might be able to get to like Tekken God or Supreme soon. You know what I'm saying? Like if we're just thinking about like ranks, like I know where I can get to in any game if I just want to sit down and actually learn and play that game, right? The problem is that skill level I'm capable of getting to by actually like working hard and like studying and like practicing and like, you know, getting my reps in is also achievable, especially in today's games, by being a complete fucking idiot. And that's extremely frustrating. To know the work that you put in and then to fight a player who you can very clearly tell doesn't have a fucking clue what they're doing. It's like, yo, I know the work I put in to get to this point, and this dude is just slamming his face into his controller and we're at the same rank. So what does that say about me? You know what I'm saying? What does that say about the work that I put in? Like, you know what I mean? That shit is really annoying and frustrating. And like, so you want to then believe it's like, no, I'm way better than this person. Like I should never lose to somebody like this. They don't have a fucking clue what they're doing. I have a lot of clue of what I'm doing. And then you lose? Oh, I want to fucking kill myself. Because there are people, and like, you know, sometimes I just be talking shit, sometimes it be salt in the moment. But there are people who I come across in fighting games, I'm like, oh no, this person's a fucking moron. Like this person has never played a fighting game in their life, is the impression you get sometimes. And then you lose. And it's like, oh, it's up to Lotus. And then you lose. It's like, oh, wow, I must be fucking awful at this game. And I'm not, but clearly bad enough to where I can lose to really bad players. I think that statement you just made epitomizes anytime you've gotten mad in a fighting game video you've made and it makes perfect sense. Yeah. Using Tekken King promo to elicit chainsaw spam. Did I do that? That sounds like something I would have done. You know, just enough to get yourself in trouble. It's just frustrating that like I'd like to consider myself, I downplay myself all the time, but it's because I lose to people like that and because I know how much higher the ceiling goes. Like I have a good idea of like where I stand as a fighting game player. But it's like to think of yourself as a certain level and then lose to somebody who in your opinion, or like in my opinion, is just bad. It's like, well, damn, that shit hurt. And that itself is like a mental hurdle that is difficult to overcome. Because how do I articulate this? Well, it's tough because on one hand you're like, well, if you're better than that person, you should just win. And like that might be the case in some games, or might have been the case once upon a time. But like games are designed today, like, and I can't be convinced otherwise of this. Games are like legitimately designed today, fighting games are designed today to allow a less skilled player to beat a more skilled player. Like they are developing systems and mechanics and shit like that to make the playing field as equal as possible and removing a lot of the skill barrier or the skill gap, like lowering the floor. And you know what I'm saying? Like they want that to happen so that the more casual players feel better about themselves. here's my honest response to what you just said. I actually do think you sell yourself short by a lot, because even the top 1% don't win every ranked match. Yeah, for sure. They're running in the face rollers just like you. I do understand what you're saying though, but I think you're literally at the edge of getting over that bump. My favorite Lotus era was you entering online tournaments, because I feel like you were getting there, which means I could get there. Yeah, no, for sure. Like even the best players, like they don't win every match. Like I've watched Daigo, Kazunoko, Punk, Sonic Fox, Goichi, Fenrich, Hook, whoever, like all these top players across all these games. Yeah, they don't win every match online. They lose to random people all the time. But even players who I wouldn't, how do I explain? For one, obviously they lose to those types of players significantly less, but also there are times where I feel like there are people who I would consider myself at times equal to, or maybe even a little bit better than, that would outperform me in certain situations. You know what I mean? Like let's just say if we're even talking about like some of those online tournaments and shit, like this, I almost feel some type of way if I say a name, like I'm like, I won't even put a name to it, because I'm not trying to disrespect this person at all, and I don't think this is disrespectful, but even just to avoid the potential possibility, there was a certain player when I was regularly entering City of Mayhem tournaments, and every time we matched up, I always beat him. And a lot of times when we run into each other in ranked, I would beat him. But he would normally place higher than me in these events. And it's like, now when I play this dude, and like matchups are a thing, play styles are a thing, so that's for sure. But it's just like, this dude could consistently get top 8 in City of Mayhem and shit. Every time I play him, I win. So what the fuck am I doing wrong? Like, you know what I mean? And some people are just better tournament players. Sometimes it's a matchup or play style thing. And then likewise, there are players who like I've beaten multiple times that would always beat certain players that I can't beat. Like Double L, for example, is a name I don't mind saying. I could never beat Double L in Dragon Ball FighterZ, like ever. He would destroy me every single time. But there are players that would usually beat him when they played that I could beat and had beaten multiple times, but I could never beat him. And that was definitely just a play style thing. I mean, I got top 8 a few times, just not as often as I probably should have. I got 9th a lot too. I actually won one Dragon Ball FighterZ tournament once upon a time. I think that face roller issue happens less in tournament, which is why from my perspective as a viewer, you seem to enjoy those more than ranked. Yes, because for me, when I was playing in tournaments, it actually felt more like I was playing against somebody with a brain, where it was like there was thought behind their actions or intent, as opposed to just like being desperate and constantly mashing and scrambling. You still run into that in tournament, and I definitely lost people like that a couple times even in tournament. But it definitely wasn't as prevalent. If you're top 10%, you are amazing. Maybe you have that sand, blood, and crave battle. Well, that is another thing as well. Like I see things different. I have a different perspective than I guess most people do, because like even when Tekken 8 was coming out, right? Like I was one of the players who like was pretty quickly able to get to like the blue ranks or whatever, right? And I think there was a point in time where Fujin would put you in like the top 5% or 10%, whatever. And even like Tekken King or Emperor right now, you're like the top 5% ish, somewhere around there, right? Of players. Most people would go, oh, top 5%, you must be really, really good. If you were to ask me, do I think I'm really good at Tekken? I would say, fuck no. But by the numbers, logic, I guess, makes you think, oh, top 5% in the world, like that's really good. Like most people would be really proud of that. But I'm not. Not that I'm like ashamed of it, but it's like that gap from 5 to 1% is so insanely massive. And it's just like, I don't know. I just have a very different perspective on it than I think most people do. But I remember when I was, making videos talking about like rank data and the statistics and everything like that. And, FeedX and I were having conversations about you know, ranks and certain statistics and whether something was good or like a good rank or not, or like a high rank or high level or whatever, there were a lot of people who were like vehemently disagreeing with me when I would say stuff like, oh, Bushin's not like that high of a rank or like that hard to get to, or like it's not really, you know what I'm saying, shit like that. And I think it's because they wanted to feel better about themselves more than anything. But it's like, I don't know. If you're playing in the G League, you're better than 99% of all players in the world, but you can't be a pro. I mean, being in the G League is a pro. But like, yeah, so think about it like that. Like, well, people who are in the G League, I would imagine a lot of them probably think I'm good enough to be in the league. Like I should be in the league, which is why they're still there and working toward that goal. But I think think you'd ever want to do TNS for Tekken? I've thought about it. Or is that game so hard where it's like if I get 5% better every month or so, the top players are so skilled from like an ELO perspective that's not worth to see where you could go? I think the best case scenario for me if I enter TNS is going 1 and 2, like winning a single match. You have to understand is that I am currently not skilled enough in Tekken to reach God of Destruction with any of my characters, which is really, let's say Huo and Reina. And there are people who are God of Destruction that go 0 and 2 in that. You know what I'm saying? Like Tekken is a much harder game that I'm significantly less skilled at compared to like a DBFZ in terms of like how close I am to the top. Like there are players who are a lot better than me that go 0 and 2 in that. You know what I'm saying? I'd still be down to do it. It's not like I'm afraid to lose. Might be decent content. And also just to show people like how much further like that ceiling goes or whatever. But yeah. Bracket is always worth because the experience is usually high quality, especially in these online brackets. Our online tournaments are dumbass stacked about Tekken and Street Fighter 6. Yeah, no, I have no real issue with entering. It's just not something I've done yet. I don't remember, is it TNS or maybe one of the other events? One of them also does like a redemption bracket thing, right? Where like people who like lose, I don't mean like winner side and loser side, but like a separate bracket for people who like go 0 and 2 or something like that, for them to like play against each other and try to continue to improve and shit or something like that. That is TNS, okay, for sure. Sounds cool. Yeah, I think Sajam was running a weekly at one point for either Guilty Gear or Street Fighter, and I think he did something pretty similar. I think he even had like just like a straight up, it was like a beginners tournament or something like that, where it's like you can only enter the event if you were like below a certain rank or some shit like that. And like if you ever win the tournament, then you can't ever enter again or something like that. I definitely am I'm a James Harden, Joel Embiid ass nigga though, because I don't think I ever once played as well in tournament as I think I am as a player. Like I think every time I've ever played in a tournament, especially offline, I think I've always played worse than what I know I'm capable of. Flame out in the playoffs type beat. If I had more time, I'd try and run weeklies myself. Just so certain communities have something to do every day. So if it's not my turn, they can do TNS or Spooky. So that. Embiid stray. Yeah, speaking of Embiid, I wonder if he's ever actually gonna be able to play again. Like, real talk. I don't think so. I don't want to think that way, but like it really does seem like his career might be over. And partially due to just like a mismanagement of his body and his injuries and stuff. And I'm thinking back, it might have been either Combo Breaker or Frosty Faustings. One of those events, I played somebody in winner's final of my pool, and he ended up winning the set 2-1 in like a really close final game where I fucked up and I should have won, but I dropped a combo or something like that. And that guy ended up making top 8. And it's like, damn, that could have been me. And then simultaneously, somebody else who ended up making top 8, I played online like the next week or whatever, and I was beating them as well. And I'm like, why can't I ever just play like this in bracket? Like, whatever, man. And I definitely am not the type of person who would have like very regularly made top 8 at events, or I was so far from a top player pressure, but like I wasn't really like nervous when I would play. I just, maybe just like a subconscious pressure, because like I never really put like a lot of pressure on myself like in these offline tournaments, because I go into these things expecting myself to maybe that's part of it. Like I don't expect myself to like do particularly well. I don't go in there thinking like, oh, I'm about to just get destroyed, but it's like I go in with realistic expectations. I'm like, I win a few games, you know, I might, you know, make out of pools, winners, losers, whatever, you know what I'm saying? I don't go in there thinking I'm about to win the whole thing, but I don't go in there thinking I'm about to go 0-2 either. Like I just have a very level head about it. And like, I don't put pressure on myself in those offline scenarios, because it's just like, you know, but maybe like subconsciously it's like, I don't know. So you're going in thinking I might like, oh, I might go 4-2, something like that. Yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah. It's like, yeah, I might go 3-2, 4-2, some shit like that. That'd be cool. My goal every time I went to an offline event was just make it out of pools, which I thought was a very realistic and achievable goal for me. And sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't. I think that the floor for me should have been that, though. I don't think there's any event I should have gone to and not made it out, but there were. I just didn't play well enough. The Washington Commanders and the LA Rams both think they could have won the Super Bowl because they played the Eagles strong, and the Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens both think they'd have whooped on the Eagles if they could have beaten the Chiefs. Matchups are absolutely a thing, but, you know, if ifs and buts with candy and nuts, we'd all have a very Merry Christmas, you know, shoulda, coulda, woulda type shit. The Stormic, what's good, man? Which combo breaker was it when you played on stream? I don't remember, but that one sucks because, like, again, that was another one where the person I lost to made top 8 winner side. I think he got 3rd or 5th. That was Dell, which I've played Dell before, and I've always lost to Dell when I played. He also played UI Goku and Vegito. I think he played Blue Vegeta, UI Goku, Vegito. Just anti-Lotus Asakura team incarnate, first and foremost. He also had just gotten, like, even better since we had played before. And then I also dropped a couple of like combos in that set, which Dell's just not a player I would have expected myself to be anyway. But yeah, that was the one and only time I ever played on stream, and I didn't get destroyed, but it wasn't pretty. Yeah, take it easy, Ram. Thank you for hanging out. I might wrap up here anyway. We're sitting here just yapping for like the past hour, but might call it a night myself. little yapping is good. Yeah. Good conversation. Wanted to play some Tekken tonight, but I didn't expect there to be maintenance. I didn't realize that that was happening today. Is what it is, though. What the fuck is Dion doing up streaming this late? What? That's very rare and surprising. I was trying to figure out where to send you guys, but I don't imagine Dion is going to be on for much longer. Omega could end at any second, but he could also stream for 6 more hours. Who knows? Thunder might be going to bed soon. I'm gonna just send y'all to Omega because he probably has the highest chance of continuing to be live for a little bit, but he could also very easily end very soon. Anyway, when is season 2 dropping? I don't remember if we have an exact release date. No, we do. It's April 1st, April 1st, April 3rd, something like that. It's April. Anyway, appreciate y'all hanging. Thank you for the subs, gift subs, bits, files, everything like that. And I'll catch y'all again soon. Should be back playing more Tekken, more Monster Hunter, and some other stuff as well. Pokemon and shit. Appreciate y'all. Y'all be easy, man. Later.